How you going, people? Well, this was a interesting little interview. TMZ host Larry Elder. This video is being used for the Fair Use Act for education and critique purposes. So, let's take a look and comment on this video.
Boys. And earlier this month, he announced that he was appointing to this commission longtime radio host Larry Elder. And
Larry Elder, nice, conservative, responsible individual that doesn't live life as a victim. These other two idiots,
I'm really excited to find out what this commission
hate, division, blame Trump. Everything is everyone else's fault except they're both very pro Black Lives Matter, of course. All right, let's watch this bias. Might as well be CNN, MSNBC lies on how these two idiots try to gang up on this guy, and they really don't have an argument other than to repeat the same narrative.
is aiming to do and what they've been able to do at this point, if anything. So obviously it's still early. They're just getting started, but I want to find out all about this. So joining us right now.
They don't want to find out about anything. They want to attack this guy. Don't believe the narrative when these people, look at his face. He just can't wait. He's salivating like, man, let me get a hold of this freaking ignorant black dude that don't even know. He's thinking this black guy is a traitor to his race, even though he's sitting here totally trashing Trump, trashing America, and trashing anything good, and taking a failed lies and side that is absolutely does nothing to help anybody but the left liberal party.
Is Larry Elder. Larry, welcome to TMZ Live. Hey, Larry.
You know what? I think I had this beefed up here. I did. Let me put this on normal speed.
Hey, Harvey, Charles, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Well, as you pointed out, we just now got it started, so we haven't had a meeting yet. And my suspicion is if Donald Trump does not get reelected, we won't have very many meetings at all.
There you go. Go figure. Trump tries to do something to get to raise awareness of lack of family values, lack of keeping the black man down, so you'll vote Democrat and you need government, which the left does. And Trump promotes a decent guy who wants to do the right thing and help and try to get values back. And guess what? They said if Trump doesn't get reelected, they won't have any meetings. No shit. The left has no incentive to help the black community. Their only incentive is to keep the black community stupid, dumb, and dependent on the left. And they tell them that because they're trying to help them, because they want to save them, because they're the only ones fighting them, because the left is always really great about telling everyone who to blame, although the left never is to blame for anything. They're all good.
But the whole point is to focus attention on...
See how they're laughing at this guy? I mean, they say they want to hear this, and they act like they want to hear it. They're just waiting to pounce on this guy like a freaking wounded zebra out there in their lines looking for a free meal.
The plight of the black man. The black family is in free fall. In my opinion, because of the welfare state, which was launched in the 1960s with the best of intentions, the so-called war on poverty, we have incentivized women to marry the government and allowed men to abandon their financial...
Amen to that. If you got government paying you, then you don't need the mean man. And there's always been a huge war on the male, their role. They're not good. They're mean. They don't like women. They're racist. They like guns. They push back on the government. Men is the biggest threat to the government. So this ploy over years of devaluing men and making women important. Why do we want women so empowered? Because they're going to vote emotion. And if we tell them we're going to protect their child, they'll say we're good. And if we tell them we'll give them rights, they're stupid and they'll vote for us. And they're easy to manipulate. I mean, it's just freaking crazy. The stereotypic way that the left runs their whole agenda. And yet they have idiots lining up to follow them. It just amazes me.
And moral responsibility. It's not just a problem in the black community where 70% of black kids are raised without fathers.
70% without fathers. Single moms. But remember, the government will tell you single moms are smart. They're good. They make good choices. They should be looked at as their job is so difficult because they're single. They're not single because of their choices. They're single because of the mean male.
50% of Hispanic kids are raised without fathers.
50% of Hispanics, 70% of black males. I don't know if he gives the white stats here because everybody's concerned about color.
25% of young black men, by the way, living in the inner city have criminal records. Either
75% have criminal records. Rick, that's not true. You can't say that. Truth is racism. It's not racist if it's facts. I mean, the left will tell you it's racism. YouTube will tell you it's racist. They don't want facts because that tears down their agenda for you to think on your own.
in jail, on parole, on probation, and it is clear that not having a father in the family has deeply, deeply hurt the black community. And Donald Trump is one of the first Republicans to talk about it and to address it.
Okay, so he's obviously thinks Trump is doing. Trump just appointed him, so obviously he's going to like Trump. But I don't think he's kissing Trump's butt just because he wants his job. I mean, he's a pretty good. He's pretty well known. On the radio, he's got a job. He's trying to give back to the community, do the right thing, hold people responsible, try to raise them to where a father and mother is both valued and there's good in family values. But you know what? Government doesn't like that. Government doesn't like self-sufficiency, especially left-wing government. Left-wing government just loves to grow government and tell you how much they need them and how much they're going to give you and how you're too stupid to make your own decisions and we got to save you. We got to tell you how big your drinks are. We got to tell you you got to wear a seatbelt. We got to tell you how to protect yourself because you're too stupid. We got to protect your baby for it. We got to do everything for you because you stupid people that are just out there earning and making a living, you don't know what to do with your money. You need to give it to us so we can protect you and keep you safe. How does anybody not see the evils in government?
At the same time, Donald Trump is touting that he feels he has been.
Notice a picture of Trump is kind of got a smirk on his face. They select this photo, not just to show who Trump is. They do this to slam him and to put their negative spin and to make Trump look bad. I mean, it's just anybody that watches this and look at Trump. Who thinks that this is just a random photo? And Trump always looks like this. So when they grab this random photo, it just happened to show Trump how he always is. I mean, if you believe and you live in that category, who the hell puts on your pants for you in the morning?
Better for African Americans than anybody except possibly Abraham Lincoln.
Possibly.
And he's trying to paint a fairly rosy picture of what it's like for black people in America under his tutelage. So how do you square the two?
So basically, remember, all questions, 90% of all questions are statements in disguise. So when people ask questions, and I've learned this in the comments a lot, people will ask these little stupid, they'll want to make a statement, so they'll ask this question like they really want to learn, and they think they're being smart. And he thinks he's being really smart here. How do you I made this whole statement trashing Trump. How do you feel about that? He doesn't care about how you feel. He wanted to make the statement, pose it as a question to trash Trump.
This man is doing something about the economy before the coronavirus pandemic, historically low unemployment. The man has signed the First Step Act, which allowed something like 5,000 mostly black men to have their sentences reconsidered and reduced an average of about 75 months. He's also spent more money on enterprise.
Has anybody heard that Trump was letting black people out of jail, trying to get their sentences? Of course not, because that doesn't fit the liberal left hate agenda. So you get pounded with these commercials and with these ads and with the left-wing media and left-wing Hollywood promoting this. Oh no, if you're white, you got to be racist. You got to hate everybody. Therefore, you have to hate white people and you got to vote liberal Democrat because we love you. We hate white people too. I mean, it's just crazy.
Zones. He's put funding on HBCUs for the first time over a period of 10 years. No one's ever done that before.
The president is...
Okay, so they cut him off. They don't want to hear positive stats because that doesn't fit their agenda. So let's see how we can attack you. Let's see how they're going to turn this around and make this a positive learning experience to get out to their educated TMZ. Only educated people, I'm sure, watch this and get their news here. Let's see how they're going to try and educate people to give both sides so they can think and make a decision for themselves.
Is also saying that there is no systemic racism in America. There is no systemic racism.
That's a term, people. We've elected a black president twice. Most Inner cities have black police chief, black mayors, black people that said, we were told if we did that, all the problems will go away. Yet the problems hasn't gone away. But so now we have to stick to our old narrative. The world's going to end. There's systemic racism. It's racism is a problem. It's not people's behavior, actions, lack of responsibility. No. It's other people's problem.
Racism in policing. And
There isn't.
Okay. All right.
There is no evidence of systemic racism.
This guy lays out some great stats here. Hopefully YouTube will leave it up. They hate things that go against their liberal left lies.
Whatsoever. In fact, the evidence shows the opposite. I was just about ready to say there's a black Harvard professor named Roland Fryer.
A black professor did this. So, we have to make people know what color people are now, because if you don't, the left will turn it into a color thing. It's like no matter what happens, the left will always make it about color and about driving hate.
Who assumed, just as you did, that the police were killing blacks just because they were black. He did a study. Not only did he not find it, he found out, which tracked other studies, the police are more hesitant, more reluctant to pull the trigger on a black suspect.
This is absolutely true. People know the fallout and the negative and the stereotypical judgment that when you arrest black people, and I know plenty of cops that absolutely do that. You know what? Man, I just didn't want to go there. It's not worth it. It's going to be called rape. And that's exactly what criminals like. I mean, think about it. If you were a criminal and all you had to do was say, you don't like me because I only have one arm, or you don't like me because I'm pro-Second Amendment, I carry a gun, or you don't like, as long as you can connect it, if you're a woman criminal, you can just say every time you get caught for a crime, it's because you're a woman. And there's systemic sexism that we don't like women. And that way you can commit crimes and cops won't harass you because they don't want to get called names. And therefore it makes it easier for you to commit your crimes. It's just so clear what is being done.
Suspect than on a white suspect. And it's common sense, because of people like people in the media who immediately assume that a cop is doing something racist or motivated because the victim is black. They're afraid to shoot a black person much greater than they are afraid to shoot a white person.
Larry, you're from Los Angeles.
So we don't want to hear facts. Let me cut you off. We don't want to hear facts. Let me cut you off. Let me close my eyes because you're so full of crap, and let me educate you, stupid person, for not agreeing with me.
And you know what happened with the Rampart Division. It was an incredible scandal.
He didn't say, he mentions the Rampart Division because people know the name, but the Rampart Division had 50% black people committing the same crimes, but it was only called racist because of what the white people did, and they had black officers doing the exact same thing, but they couldn't play the race card on them. So what do? They just connect the term Rampart and make you think it was all white people, when it wasn't. It's just a flat out lie.
Where they were going into the inner city and they were setting people up and planting drugs and doing all this stuff.
Look at his head. He can't even say it with a straight face. He has to look off because I'm making shit up as I say it. It's just, this guy has zero credibility. It pisses me off because he's got a horse on his shirt, and I'm kind of a horse guy. Take that damn horse off. You don't even deserve to have a horse emblem on your shirt, you freaking idiot.
This has been going on for a long time.
Harvey.
Oh, it's been going on for a long time. You're just an idiot. It's been a long time. Rampart, back in what, 70, 60, 20, 30 years ago. It's a long time been going on. A long time, GI.
Harvey, 20 years ago. From 1992 to 2002, Los Angeles had back-to-back black police chiefs, even during the O.J. Simpson case. And what happened? Willie
But that
Williams,
doesn't mean...
All right, let's cut him off. We don't want to hear that because that makes our argument. Hang on. Let's cut you off and let us get back to attacking you.
Doesn't mean that doesn't make it go away, Larry.
You can't look at a black police chief and say, therefore, there isn't systemic racism.
That is exactly what you've been saying, and that's how the government works, and that's how this, socialism gets driven, is you divide people and you tell them how bad it is, so you need more government to correct all the wrongs in life. Pretty soon you have government making all the decisions, and now when they do wrong decisions, it doesn't matter because they're in charge and you have no freedoms any damn way. That is just a standard communist socialist agenda, is to divide and tell you how bad people are and how bad groups are and how bad you shouldn't trust. And you need government because we'll protect you, we'll keep you, we'll make regulations, we'll hold these people accountable. Who holds government accountable when government gets all the power? No one, you freaking idiots.
Racism.
Right. We had a black president. Is there no racism in America then?
Actually, the black president made more racism. He made everything about race, and he judged people basically on their color and stirred up more race. It got worse under Obama. Why? Because his wife, Michelle, was running around blaming everybody that she didn't even feel comfortable in the country. She hated the country until she was first lady. She's still out there bashing the country. Was the first lady of the country and still who thinks anybody could do anything to stop the cries of what happened 200 years ago? Nothing. No matter what you do, it won't be enough.
Then, Larry, I mean, come on.
First you said systemic racism. Now you're saying racism. Which one do you want?
No, I'm saying I'm sticking with systemic.
There's no evidence whatsoever of systemic racism. I ask you to prove it.
A cop watching somebody run away, a black man run away, shooting him and killing him. A guy walking into a convenience store.
A black man running away, walking, and he shoots and kills him. He's just making this shit up. He's not citing a case. I mean, there's plenty of studies out there that show that most people who are shot, and I think he gets into this, most people who are shot are committing crimes. I know that's a shocker. Most people, now I'm not saying the cops are freaking perfect. If you watch my channel, you know I'm cracking on the cops, and I think government needs to be held more accountable. But cops are not out there just shooting black people. It's just a flat out lie.
Shooting him and killing him. Larry, we've seen this.
Okay, here's the thing, Larry. I hear what you're saying about the studies.
Harvey, let me try it this way. There are 50 million police-civilian interactions.
It's a pretty good stat here he gives out. Pay attention to this. 50 million interactions.
Harvey, let me try it this way. There are 50 million police-civilian interactions every single year. Out of that 50 million, there are 11 million arrests. Out of that 11 million arrests, 60,000 officers.
So if there's 11 million arrests out of 50 million, that's kind of a high percentage of arrests. That's pretty freaking high. You got to figure every time a cop contacts you, what is that, like 20% chance you're going to get arrested? Out of every 5 contacts, somebody gets arrested. I mean,
officers are assaulted. Out of all of that 1,000, out of that 11 million arrests, 60,000 officers are assaulted. Out of all of that, 1,000 civilians are killed. Half of them are white, 250 of them were black.
Okay, out of all that, half of the people killed are white. And if you watch the news, you'd swear up and down, no white people are getting convicted, arrested, or contacted by the police. And no white people are getting shot, and it's only black people. Why? Because that's the only thing they show you. I mean, the manipulation from the media and YouTube and Facebook and the rest of these left-wing lying Twitter companies, it's just outrageous how they are dumbing down people to where you can't think for yourself, and anytime somebody tries to give you facts, you get censored. And it's called, oh, we got to protect you.
Almost all of them were resisting with a weapon or resisting violently. When you get down to unarmed black men being shot by white cops, you're talking about less than 4% of the total. And unarmed does not mean not dangerous. Michael Brown was unarmed, but he was reasonably perceived as dangerous.
And that's a big misconception. Just because someone is not armed and they get shot does not make them. Somebody on PCP may have thrown 4 cops to the ground, may be choking. You don't have to be armed. If you walk up to a cop, put a chokehold on him, and you're about to pop his neck and kill him and choke and kill him, deadly force is authorized, and that'll be unarmed. And if you're white, it won't hit the news. If you're black, it'll be like shot an unarmed black man. Do you get, I mean, I just can't imagine how stupid you have to be not to see this. Even though you're inundated every day and in childhood and schools and in government-run schools and government-run college education, even though, how can you not see this unless you almost work at not seeing it? There are none so blind as those who refuse to see.
It is rare, Harvey. You guys are exaggerating this. When a white person gets killed by a cop, nobody gives a damn. When a black person gets killed by a cop, people are out in the streets. And in Philadelphia, you're talking about a city where the captain of the city council is black. Almost every single member of city council is a Democrat. They've had black mayors. The police chief is a black female, and you're still talking about systemic racism?
Exactly. I mean, see, like I said, no matter what you do, you will still have this. The only place you don't have people crying racism is where there's only one race, because then people can't use that as an excuse. So, I mean, it's just, look, if you want to go watch this guy does a good job. I mean, I'm at 20 minutes. TMZ accuses Larry Elder of relying on statistics. Yeah, those pesky facts. Statistics is just, that's the pesky facts that mess up our liberal lies. And we don't like that. Brought to you by the Lion Left. All right, we'll end that there.